Welcome to Mind Shield. We protect the mind and pursue the truth. Let's get started.
Welcome back. Today, we're tackling something huge: how to get the experts, I'm talking engineers, doctors, lawyers, to actually listen. If you've ever laid out your case and just gotten that blank stare, or even a quick no, you know exactly how maddening it is. Well, we're going to fix that. Right now, we are going to build the one tool you need to make them take you seriously. Okay, listen up, because this right here, this is the whole game. Getting an expert's attention isn't about dumping every single thing you have on their desk. It's the exact opposite. It's about being sharp, being crystal clear, and handing them a puzzle that's so well defined and intriguing they can't help but want to solve it. You have to see it from their perspective. This is what they're usually getting. It's just a hurricane of data, a mix of real symptoms, some technical jargon, and yeah, maybe some wild theories all thrown together. For a professional who is trained to find a single, clear signal in the noise, this just sounds like static. It makes it way too easy for them to just tune out. And you know what? This is exactly why they tune out. This is like their internal mental checklist. They hear headache, and their brain immediately goes to common. They see some RF readings, they think, oh, that's probably just Wi-Fi. Unless you hand them something that is genuinely anomalous, a signal that screams out from the background noise, they're going to fall back on the easy, common explanations. And just like that, your real case gets lost. So what's the fix? You stop telling a messy story and you start presenting a clean case. You have to take that tangled ball of yarn and weave it into a professional, concise report. This is how you bridge that credibility gap. You completely reframe the conversation from an emotional plea to a technical problem that absolutely demands their professional skill. All right, so let's get to it. Let's build this thing. It's called the 5-minute brief, and it is specifically engineered to get you from being dismissed to being documented, from being ignored to being investigated. This 5-part structure is your roadmap. The whole point is to be fast, but also incredibly powerful. Each section builds on the one before it, creating this tight, logical case that's almost impossible for a serious person to just brush off. It tells them you respect their time, and it proves you're a serious, disciplined investigator. Okay. Part 1. And this might be the most important rule of the whole shebang. You have to separate what you observed from what you think it means. So instead of saying, I was attacked with a directed energy weapon, you say, between 10 and 11 p.m., I felt a focused heating sensation on my left temple that correlated with a 2.4 gigahertz RF spike on my meter. See the difference? You're handing them the raw observable data, the what, long before you get to the why. Next up, you're going to build what I call a prosecutor-grade timeline, and that means being ruthlessly specific. Dates, times, down to the minute, locations. I want you to think like a CSI agent here. Where were you standing? What's the layout of the room? This isn't just a story anymore. It's a forensic map. It reveals patterns and gives them a very clear trail to follow. Now, take a look at this. This is where it all comes together. This isn't a narrative, it's an evidence log. Each row is a cold, hard link between something that happened and a piece of data that proves it. This is the exact moment that your scattered anecdotes transform into a formal, professional dossier. So what is an artifact, really? It's basically any piece of objective, verifiable data. We're talking SDR logs that show bizarre signal, a time-stamped photo of that weird van that's always parked outside, or even the diagnostic report from your mechanic showing inexplicable electronic failures. And here's the real pro tip. The less an artifact relies on your personal story, and the more it comes from a machine or another expert, the more powerful it becomes. Okay, now this is a really big one, so listen closely. Proving what stops the event can be even more convincing than showing what starts it. This is fundamental to any real investigation. If you can show that all the weird effects stop the second you flip the main circuit breaker to your house, well, you're not just collecting random data anymore. You're actively testing a hypothesis. You're doing real science. And that brings us to the final piece, your question. Notice you're not demanding that they believe you. You're not asking for validation. You are inviting them as a fellow professional to analyze a fascinating problem. You've laid out this incredible, well-documented puzzle, and you're just asking, given all this, what could explain it? You've just turned a potential argument into a collaboration. All right, so now you've got this amazing 5-minute brief. But, having a powerful tool is only half the job. How you use it is just as important. So now we have to talk about how to engage with these experts safely, in a way that protects you, your privacy, and all of the hard work that you've put in. Man, this slide just lays it all out perfectly. The number one rule of safe engagement is this: you share the case, not your life. The expert needs the data packet, right? The logs, the technical captures, the anonymized reports. What they absolutely do not need is your full name, your personal history, or your speculative theories. Keep the entire conversation surgically focused on the evidence, nothing else. I want you to think of these as your rules of engagement, your personal operational security. Always use email so you have a written record. Use encrypted apps like Signal for anything sensitive. Clearly define the scope of work so things don't get out of hand. And please, listen to me on this one. Never, ever, ever give away your original evidence. You are the sole custodian of your data. These boundaries don't just protect you, they protect the integrity of your entire case. Okay, you've got your professional brief. You've got your boundaries. Now for the hard part, finding the right person to give it to. Because let's be honest, not all experts are legit, and there are a lot of people out there who are more than happy to sell you false hope for a price. We have to learn how to spot them and avoid that trap. So how do we do that? What are the telltale signs, the red flags that separate a legitimate consultant who works with data from someone who's just selling a product or a nice-sounding story? This checklist right here is your BS detector. Real experts have credentials you can actually look up. They're not trying to sell you a miracle cure in a box. And here's the big one. Are their claims falsifiable? All that means is there a test you could possibly run that could prove them wrong? If the answer is no, then you are not dealing with science. Real pros use cautious, careful language. They talk about evidence and possibilities, not magic and certainties. So you had the meeting. Great. But you're not done yet. In fact, what you do after an interaction with an expert is every bit as critical for building your case over the long haul. Every single conversation is a new piece of intelligence. What's absolutely crucial is that you document the interaction itself with the same rigor you used to build your brief. As soon as it's over, you write an after-action memo. What was their main takeaway? Did they ask for more data? How did their input change your own hypothesis? You have to remember every single interaction, even if it feels like a dead end, is a data point. It helps you sharpen your case for the next round. And really, that's what this whole thing is about. It's a total mindset shift. You're no longer just a person telling a frustrating story. You are an investigator, methodically building a dossier. And that disciplined professional documentation, that becomes your single most powerful weapon. It's what commands respect. When you master this process, you create something that simply cannot be waved away, not by a court, not by a journalist, not by a regulator. You've built a credible, professional case. And that becomes the rock-solid foundation for our final step, learning how to take that case public, the right way, without burning everything to the ground. And that is exactly what we'll cover in our finale.